Hey guys, it's Cranetrain. So, at the time of this recording, these are obviously no longer available on Toreba and are a pretty high demand item. I think some of them might still be available, at least the pink one I'm pretty sure was the last time I looked, on Toreba 2D, which is a app. It's separate from the normal Toreba, but I'm not going to go into that one right now. I'll discuss that at another point in time. For this video, I'm basically just winning some Toreba kitties, and basically want to just kind of discuss how plastic wrap, decent amount of strength, and basically a correctly configured crane should look. So normally, in most aspects, plastic wrap is a bit of a hindrance. In this aspect, it probably would have been a little bit easier if the plushies were unwrapped, but at the same time, I don't think it would have affected it drastically, since the crane was fairly strong. I did do two different table configurations for this video. One was an 1800 per try, the other was 2000 try machine. So the first one I believe is the 2000, and the second one that I do later on in this video is 1800 per try. Basically, the overall goal with this was a fairly fair setup. It was 2 bars and then 2 prizes at a time. They would cycle out the prizes as necessary. I only honestly managed to get one of the gold kitties because every time I tried to get on the machine when a gold cat was up, I was unable to reserve it, or the person ahead of me won it. The pink kitties I won 4 or 5 of. I think I actually won 5 of those, and 4 of the white, and 1 of the gold if I remember correctly. The main thing with this was, since the claw was actually fairly strong, it was a pretty fair machine. You could move the prizes around a little bit, you could push a little bit. It wasn't too difficult. It definitely didn't feel like it was rigged. There wasn't really any major problems. The plastic wrap didn't stick too much. They eventually did nerf the machines a little bit, but overall I would say that this is what you would expect from a fair machine. I would expect this in a local arcade, and so on and so forth. Normally plastic wrap can be a bit of a hindrance because it sticks to the sticky tape on the bars, or it can cause other problems such as, especially with square packaging, it can get caught on the bars themselves where the corners are and wrap around the bars depending on what you're trying to attempt or someone prior to you tried to attempt, making it that much more difficult to win. Another kind of hindrance with some plushies, specifically I'm going to cover this with this one because the head is a little bit fatter than the body. Sometimes they don't correctly configure it for the head, instead they configure it for the body, or they don't make it uniform. Sorry, my dog is coughing. This can be a bit of a problem because when you go to push it through, then it's not thin enough, or it's not correctly the right size to get through the holes, which causes a few problems. But since the claw was correctly configured, it wasn't too bad. Something that might be something a little hard to notice in this is that the back bar was actually lower than the front bar. If you look closely in this video, you can kind of see that. This meant that you kind of wanted to lift it towards the back rather than the front, otherwise you would end up with other problems. Overall, this was probably one of the most fair machines that I encountered. That being said, Toreba's been kind of going through a little bit of a thing lately where they've been upping their prices, changing their rewards, their cranes haven't been quite as consistent and fair play, their customer service has been going down a little bit. I feel like this may be due to the fact that they have very little international competition, so hopefully that will change soon. We'll have to wait and see. Another thing to really keep in mind with Toreba, guys, is those free daily plays is what a lot of people use. As a result, some people also will use the multi-account exploit where they constantly are creating new accounts and using the first 5 free plays and selling those. I personally don't see a major issue with that as an exploit because not as many people know how to, and I'm not sure I want to teach anyone specifically how to do this. I don't personally use it. There's specific reasons why I don't personally use it, but overall I have no issues with this from an ethical standpoint. If you personally find a way to work around a system, that is the company's fault for not managing to bypass this. That being said, Toreba has done as much as I think they can personally in regards to actually preventing people from using exploits as much as possible. The reason I say this is in order to get the 5 free plays, you do have to have a new device and a new account, so this means your device ID must not be recognized in order for it to work. That's kind of hard to manipulate if you're using something like an iPhone or a normal Android phone, but there are ways around that. Another big thing with Toreba that finds a lot of people being appealed to it, coming on to Toreba, is the fact that they have the free shipping internationally to pretty much any country. This is really nice, especially since shipping out of Japan overall isn't too expensive, but the bigger packages definitely do tend to get a bit more expensive if you were to try and ship that. But they have a deal with Japanese SAL to provide this, which makes it a lot easier for them to do what they do. There are a few other companies out there like DC7 that do provide free shipping, international shipping, but it's not necessarily free. And then some other companies that do free shipping are typically like Taito Station Online or Sega Catcher Online, but the problem with those is they only ship inside of Japan. So there's a lot of drawbacks. I feel like Toreba needs a lot more competition, and without it, there's not going to be a drive to compete with anyone by providing better customer service or by providing better products or not, rigging claws. Now, I'm not saying personally that Toreba rigs claws, but there's always those employees that aren't aware of how to properly set up a crane. That being said, we all know there are exceptions to this rule. Unfortunately, without much competition, Toreba is going to continue to sort of degrade in regards to their customer service. I do believe that they are making a decent amount of money overall, considering the fact that they don't have a set limit on a prize and when they will give it to you. Whereas in most arcades locally, as well as a lot of the other online arcades, after a certain limit is reached, you win the prize regardless. This is usually whatever is predetermined, but I'd say somewhere between the range of $30 to $40. Toreba 2D does this, but Toreba Normal does not. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more.